Patty is an urgent advocate of brain injury. She has written her own raw story, Coping with Traumatic Brain Injury, One Woman's Journey from Death to Life. She serves as Vice President of Hope After Brain Injury and was selected to the Texas Brain Injury Advisory Council and as a committee chairperson. Patty's also a member of the North Texas TBI Model System Advisory Council, serves on the BIAA Texas Division Strategic Planning Committee, and travels often as a speaker for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Before she takes the stage, let's take a minute and watch a short clip.
My head and body were going at such a full speed that it shot like a missile through that area made of, I suppose, plexiglass. And in fact, one of the eyewitnesses of the accident said she saw something fly out of the Tahoe, but she thought it was just a piece of laundry.
That piece of laundry was Patty Foster. On June 18, 2002, she and 3 friends were on their way to a Bible study. Patty's SUV was rear-ended by an 18-wheeler traveling 70 miles per hour. 3 of the passengers were injured, and sadly, 1 lost her life. As Patty's body lay mangled in the middle of the road, bystanders began to pray.
People that didn't know each other, they began to just join hands automatically. They began to pray with each other.
Emergency helicopter crews landed at the scene and transported Patty to the ICU. After an all-night effort, the trauma team was able to sustain Patty's life, but she remained in a coma for 6 weeks. In addition to multiple other injuries, every lobe of Patty's brain had been severely injured. Her primary injury was to her frontal lobe.
Without the frontal lobes functioning and organizing and directing, without the frontal lobes doing that for us, our brain really doesn't function.
The doctors met with my family at some point during my coma time and prepared them what to expect. They said, okay, if she does live, she will be a persistent vegetable.
As news of Patty's accident began to spread, prayers and support from around the world began to pour in.
People from the radio station, from churches, listeners that had just heard about it, just everybody.
Patty says it was the power in those prayers that eventually woke her from her coma.
We had learned a week prior to this is when we had received the prognosis that she would never walk or talk or speak in complete sentences. And that's when she just kind of focused and looked at me and said, pray for me. And I said, okay. I said, I'll pray for you. I said, that's no problem. And she said, no, pray for me now. After that day, after she said, pray for me, everything completely changed. Completely changed.
To her doctor's surprise, Patty was released from the ICU and sent to rehab a year earlier than expected. But due to the extent of her brain injury, she still had enormous obstacles to overcome.
I had to relearn how to swallow, breathe on my own, blink, open my mouth, move my head, move my hands, fine motor skill. They had to reteach me the numbers. They had to reteach me my alphabet, every single thing.
Through it all, only one thing remained the same for Patty.
My love for God was there the entire time. It didn't leave. I didn't have to relearn that. From the stories that I've been told, that's the one thing that remained a constant throughout it all.
Patty's rehabilitation progressed swiftly, and after only 1 month of treatments, she was released from the hospital and sent home.
Her total recovery is amazing, and the fact that it happened so rapidly. Those are 2 things I did not expect.
Patty also regained her ability to process information, and eventually, she was able to pursue her career in public speaking.
And she's able to go back to something that most people without a brain injury could not have done. And certainly for her to have recovered that ability is nothing short of a miracle.
Today, Patty travels around the world sharing her story with others about God's miracle in her life.
And I want to be there just to encourage people in the real way because of what I've gone through. As long as I live, He will use that tragedy that Satan intended to rip me into shreds. But as long as I live, that miracle that began on June 18th, 2002 will live on to my Father's glory.
Please help me welcome Patty to the stage. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're almost done. You have endured, but learned so much all along the way, yes? I really enjoyed talking with you at the booth. You know, some would come through, and I enjoyed how you would talk with me, and I would ask you about what was standing out to you the most, or what was connecting to you, and why, and you would begin to share and talk to me from a personal standpoint, professional standpoint, and in the moment. So, if I never see you again, if our paths never cross again, I have 3 words. Dr. Welch, this is for you. I've enjoyed you. Thank you for your realness. Thank you for the way you take depth and extend it to all so that it's receivable. 3 words. Persevere through adversity. No matter what you might be in the midst of or going through, professionally or positively, or professionally or personally, may you choose to persevere, Kayla, through adversity. Not over, not beneath, not around. Key preposition, through. Before I go any further, can we give some love to Ty and Grace for the great AV job today with all of the devices? And thanks to sweet Jennifer for being an incredible lady who can put it together. Jennifer Hawkins, you are the queen of the day. And my Miss MC, I didn't get your name.
Jennifer.
Oh, another Jennifer. Oh, yeah. Huh. Wonderful, wonderful. And Dr. Welch, you remind me of a quote, actually. In fact, several years ago, Dina and I, Dr. Adams, would everyone wave? Dr. Adams in the back, hello. She is the president and founder of Hope After Brain Injury. She and I travel around the world now. And back in, I believe it was 2016 or so, we were in Holland, the Netherlands. They're in The Hague. And they were doing the IBIA, International Brain Injury Association. We were speaking, presenting. And it had some wonderful interaction with the leading neurosurgeons, neuropsychs around the world. And one of them was the Lifetime Achievement Award. His name, Dr. Andrew Moss. You may know him in Antwerp, University of Antwerp, Belgium. Phenomenal man. He was finishing speaking about ethics. He came down, and so I interviewed him. I said, Dr. Moss, if you could describe hope, the essence and importance of hope after a brain injury, in one word, what would you say and why? Dr. Moss looked away, thought, came back and looked at me, very calmly said, breath. As essential as breath. Along with that, as Dr. Moss accepted his Lifetime Achievement Award, which usually goes to people who are dead, he quoted something. Albert Einstein. Dr. Welch, this reminds me of you. Lesser the knowledge, greater the ego. Greater the knowledge, lesser the ego. To me, Dr. Welch is the epitome of that second half. Yes? Greater the knowledge, lesser the ego. Thank you, Dr. Welch. That is an example to be followed. No, listen to me. I really mean this. Step into my head for a moment. That is an example to be followed, verbally, non-verbally. May our lives speak so loudly that our mouths get in the way sometimes. Yes? Yes. So as we move along through our few moments that we have in our time together, I pass along to you a few things that hopefully can help you in the midst of whatever you go through. But because I tasted death and experienced it in the midst of it, and now I'm alive, I know I have purpose. I had depth of character before. I was a vivacious little chicky chick. I was in media all my life, TV and radio. Down here in the South, I was at KVNE for years, 89.5. Mike in the morning, Patty in the afternoon. I drove you home from work. We had some moments together. And I do love God's holy manna. I believe it's splendid. It's rather known to you as peanut M&Ms. We're going to use our M&Ms in a few moments before you finish up. And then I was in Michigan and Indiana. As the morning girl, I would wake you up and drive you to work. I was that excited, lively person in the morning that you want to throw the alarm at. When you taste death, pardon me, everyone, pardon me, it does trigger you to get our heads out of our anal orifice and be about what matters, professionally, personally, alone. Integrity. Who are you without anyone? Your choice. So, I pass along to you a few things in these moments that we have together as we, yes, from different perspectives. These are things that I learned firsthand. So I pass along, and you take them as they connect with you. And some I'll include there, and I will add my own as well. So as we talk about 3 different ones, let's talk about from the survivor's perspective and from the caregiver's perspective, as well as the healthcare perspective. But before we go there, I invite you, step into my world. Let's go back in time, shall we? It was about 6:40 in the evening on that hot summer's night, June 18th, 2002, over 100 degrees, what I laughingly call Fry Daddy weather. 4 of us ladies were in a Tahoe on our way to meet the others. Envision this with me. I was sitting behind the driver. See this with me. I was sitting behind the driver, and all of us had on our seatbelts, being good law-abiding citizens. Emily, the driver, had completely stopped her Tahoe at the red light intersection. All lanes of traffic were full. I had taken off my seatbelt to turn and check on some flowers I bought for all the ladies. I was in the midst of turning when suddenly, bam! That's when the impact happened. A car hauler pulling a trailer full of cars, barreling down the highway at 70 miles per hour, 67 to be exact, slammed into the back of our Tahoe, no warning. That's when the life of this former radio personality came to an abrupt halt, much faster than the blink of an eye. The right side of my face and head were ripped back, crushed, and my right eye was hanging out of its fractured orifice onto the highway into a rapidly growing pool of my own blood, well over 60% of my blood gone. Fractures all over me, from the top of my head to the tips of my toes. Multiple injuries inside and out. As one eyewitness has said, my heap of flesh and bones was lying on the road there in the pool of my own blood. He described me and said, I saw something lying in the middle of the intersection. At first, I thought it was a bag of leaves or, some kind of a bundle that had fallen off the back of a truck. Then, to my shock, I realized that it was a real person in the road. I walked right out to this pitiful heap of flesh and bones while the people on the side of the road just kept on staring at me and the body. And EMS workers searched for my pulse. No pulse to be found. So she pulled the white sheet over my body, assuming I was dead. As onlookers and eyewitnesses filled the scene, some of them formed a circle over the unknown mass, as you saw in the video, beneath that sheet and started praying. As EMS workers raced against time to save lives, one of the eyewitnesses heard a gurgling noise coming from beneath the white sheet. And there's more to this story that I've just learned today from Jim Spire. I'm adding this in. Jim was the flight medic at Air One at that time, pardon me, who flew my body in. And Kelly was thinking about making it, but I don't think he was able to. He was a flight nurse. And there's more that he told me, but it was amazing how the moments happen. And thank goodness, Jim looked under that sheet and saw a breath happen. So of course, to have a gurgle, you must have breath. An Air Flight helicopter was contacted. It landed at the crash scene and flew me to the nearest trauma center of an acute hospital. My brain and body shut down and fell into a coma for 6 weeks. I have had to relearn every single basic function of living. This little skinny chicky chick, nothing like this. Nada, zilch. Nothing. And some, 20% plus of my tissue on the highway as well. That speed bump was my speed rump. And much was gone. And so it took me years and years to begin to speak again. I was a musician. I was a vocal person. I was a mezzo-soprano. I thought I was going to real music. But for me, I'm a God follower. Things changed. But how much I worked to have the enunciation, the vowels, so that you could understand me. My walking, my talking, my balance, all the thinking, the process, the alertness, the comprehension, the balance, equilibrium, all the things that you deal with, seen and unseen. Continue to go forward, not giving up. I can do, of course, the function of living, learning from the most elementary to the complex I had to relearn. In no time at all, that motor vehicle crash had stopped my dash and turned me into a 34-year-old infant. So, with that said, let's start off with the brain injury survivors. Some things just to consider, and I'll add a few to these as well. When you're interacting with a brain injury survivor, traumatic, acquired, doesn't matter, just have a go. These are things to consider. Have a go, and you may be doing these already. Cheers. Don't step on their silence. Try not to step on their silence. And just begin to be comfortable with the awkward silence and let them think, because you can see them burning rubber. But have a go at not stepping on the silence and let them keep thinking. Maybe give them a hint in some creative way, maybe the first letter or rhymes with, sounds like, and give them a hint instead of the answer. Best time usually is in the morning. Find out some of their strengths before the crash, the pre-injury strengths. Then give some time that maybe they'll want to share those things or things you could do to help strengthen those. As me, being a media person, maybe something that could have bolstered that, supported that. Also, encourage them to journal. To me, it became like my portable counselor because I had to learn to write again. So I was just like a first grader. If you were to go back and look at my diary, it's very much like that. And my mom is the one who encouraged me, Patty, write this, you will forget. And it's from there that I began to write different books in my story and things on top of that. Also, when agitated or irritated, something you probably know, maybe you practice already, is have a go. Encourage the individual, the survivor, or yourself to have a go and walk away. Distance yourself, separate yourself, bite your tongue. I often say, or change the subject. I often say I carry a bag of tongues with me because I so often have to bite my tongue because something will come out that, oh, yeah, Patty, you shouldn't have said that. And so from there, let's go for the care partners, the caregivers. What a beautiful flyaway that was. Have a go. Just consider these. Just consider trying these. They may work for you, they may not. You may want to adjust them in different ways, edit. Perhaps ask trusted friends for help with errands. Google support groups in your area. Read about them, ask about them, find out about them. then have a go. Go to the support group and check it out. Encourage them to do that. Maybe you, as a healthcare professional, could go along with them. When they do join that support group, encourage them to treat it like a family. There are going to be times when you step on toes, get upset, cry, laugh, tell hearty moments. Encourage that as a family. Talk with other care partners, other caregivers. Ask questions of them. Find out more about them. Read, do research. Google. When in doubt, what do they say? Google. Ask questions and plus journal as a caregiver, as a care partner, and be ready to share your strengths, your weakness with other caregivers. So that, and listen, because in listening can be one of the strongest medicines ever to be given. In fact, that's one reason I appreciate what Dr. Welch said when I began to ask him, when you say you stay in touch or follow up, how long does that mean? Basically the rest of the time that they're alive. I completely respect that. There are so many people here in America that, pardon me, I am an American, so I'm going to say this is up on my own toes, that we get so engrossed with self that we forget others exist. Though we've gone through the motions and we have a profession and we get paid for it. However, invest. Pay attention to what matters for that individual. Meet that person where they are, that situation, that trauma. Just like when Dr. Welch was speaking, it stuck in my head, trauma head. Funny thumb, the Venus angioma. And then I like the popcorn about don't tell me, please. Cavergoma, I may have said it wrong. Cavernoma, yes. And because, like you said, it ruptured and the little blood comes from there. And you said about calming them and then decide next step. But just like that, you have to meet them where their next step is. Because, well, just like I'm sure all of you know, there's no brain injury alike. Similar, but nothing alike, nothing the same, uniquely different. So again, uniquely meet them where uniquely they are. Okay, there you have it for the day. And as we continue, take pictures, have a go. And sure, get permission from whomever, but take pictures along each of those healing stages, healing phases of this journey so that the brain injury survivor, when he or she is ready, and it is time later on in the journey, that he or she may want to see them, ask questions of them, find out more questions about what they were like, what they went through, what did you think, how did it affect you, what helped you deal with it. And sometimes, so often, it's just listening. Like I said earlier, that is such an incredible medicine. Okay, dear healthcare professionals, you could answer all of these for me, but let's go spend some time in your world. Hello. That's beautiful. If you talk to them, would you tell them my motto for a living? It's make a difference now. We'll talk about that. Well, now, as we're coming near to our time, boy, we're really finishing early. But I'm going to stretch it out. Get ready. I think the media is coming alive. Anyway, have a go. Have a go. If it's healthcare professional, care partner, survivor, stranger. And this, okay, let me challenge you. Let me also challenge you, okay? Take these, all of these points, and apply, or have a go, Dawn. Have a go, Heather, Miss winner of that wonderful thing you won. And have a go at applying to them personally to your life. Because you know, as I've been speaking, different things have come back to your mind. Perhaps one of your current patients, family member, some real issues right now that you really can't communicate to others. I'm not talking about mere HIPAA, I'm talking about your heart, the place where you live, that you can't communicate and say words to others. So in this moment that we have together, which will never again come again, I know this. I'm going to speak from my passion because I'm alive for my purpose. And it's for here that I do what I do, to bring you hope and use words when necessary. That in this moment, may we speak and lean into this moment and apply whatever connects to you or to someone you know. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a dear friend, maybe someone you've met here today. So in this moment, may we choose to lay hold of the moment, and you know what it is, and write yourself a note if you forget, because we're all so busy with so much in time demanding our attention. And may we lean into it, and may we live it on purpose. Righto? Not merely going through the motions. It does take energy, but Miss Rowe of Therapist, you know what I'm saying. Occupational and then some. I remember you came by the table. You see, the doctor said I would never do this, but I've challenged myself since I began waking from the coma and waking. It's Patty Foster, start learning things that they say you couldn't do it, because I want them to be a person, a human, not an it, not a thing, not a miss, not a mister. You have a life. I want to know you. I did that in radio. You matter. I believe your nonverbals speak much more loudly than your verbals. I mean, I know I already said that. I know you already know that. But let me before we go to this, let me throw down two numbers. You know these, I'm sure. 93 and 7. Did you know that primarily 7% of communication is verbal? Nouns, pronouns, adjectives, 25-cent words. Huge. Did Dr. Welch throw those words up? And Dr. Jeter, when she was here, Gina, going 90 to nothing. And then, it's not Rachel.
Yes.
It is Rachel. Thank you, Raquel. She was going at it too, with the greatest of ease. And I commend. However, honestly, 7% of communication is verbal. So with that 93% of remaining, which is nonverbal, you know, your eyes, your touch, your tone of voice, your speed of speech, your walking gait, all of those things. So I asked you the question. This hit my head from my head some years after I began waking from the coma. But let me pass it along to you. Simply this. What does your life say when your mouth is not moving? What does your life say when your mouth is not moving? It's our choice. May we lean in and live that moment on purpose. Wonderful health professionals, I did not forget you, so we go back now and we speak about a few things to consider, something you may already do. So I cheer you on, and I encourage you, be specific. Be specific with what is said or how it's said, because things implied are things often not understood or misunderstood. One that I also wrote on here, if you're taking notes, slow down, slow down. Don't assume the brain injury survivor understands any implied thoughts or concepts or phrases. Another one I didn't write, let your audio match your video, what I just said to you. What does your life say when your mouth is not moving? Let your audio match your video. What you say match what you do. Oh, dear. Most brain injury survivors think in literal terms. Apply that, remember that. You have a wonderful smile. I'll call you, that's a beautiful yellow-green chartreuse. Provide sticky notes or Post-it notes or a notepad or a piece of paper or something for the survivors to take notes that connected to them in their language, in their way. Some want to use their phone, yes, but many want to jot down a note. Remind and provide the survivors with key points after each session or your time with them or your system and what's allowed. And let me add this that is not on there. Remind and provide survivors with key points for them, not you. Think through their mind, not yours. Use their mind as the filter. Now there is some translators, interpreters. Acknowledge care partners and help them. Have a go with the family. Have a go. Acknowledge them and help them with some of the different forms of support that can be related to other care partners along their journey that they can spend time with. Also, visit hopeafterbraininjury.org, a fabulous site. hopeafterbraininjury.org. Also, you can email me at any time. That's info@pattyfoster.com. PATTIFOSTER.com. Anytime. In our time that we're going to continue, we'll finish up early. But as we do wrap up, I want to have some special moments with you. But you've had a full day. You've had a lot that's been coming to your mind, writing notes, thinking of different situations you want to play that connected to you for different reasons, different obstacles, different really unknowns, lots of mud to stir, to see what is best for this situation, that person, this instance. And you're ready to stand and let your blood flow a wee bit. So everyone, if you do have that bag of peanut M&Ms, please hold it in the air and give it a shake. Shake it, honey, shake it if you got it. Okay, so if you haven't eaten these yet, here's what I want us to do, is to have a goal. When I was out talking, that often people would throw me a bag of M&Ms or something because I loved them so much, and I would throw them back. Maybe lick a few and give some. But nonetheless, here's what I want us to have a go at. Okay, let me just test your brain. What did I say to you as my motto for living? That I mentioned or heard? Okay, someone say it loudly for me. Boom. Wow, you are good. I'm going to be like you when I grow up. MAD, now. Make a difference now. So I challenge you also in this moment. I'm going to give you my, and you may have your motto already. You may have your mantra. Mine, after I began waking from the coma, was Patty Foster. From this moment on, pay attention. Go out of your way for someone else. Invest. Make a difference now, because you never know how many moments you have left, nor do you know the quality of that time. So while you have this time, live it on purpose. Lean into it. Just like I said about Dr. Welch. What an example to follow. Beside him, is that Mrs. Welch? Or another worker? Or a friend? Or just a person? You are a quiet woman.
I'm the operations manager at UC Southwest.
Well, in fact, we were just, Hope After Brain Injury, we just did our annual conference, UT Southwestern there at Clements, with Baylor, Scott, and White, just a couple weeks ago. And did you ever know Kathleen Battle, who was over O'Donnell Institute? Yeah, great. We stay in touch. She's worked a lot with us. But, even right there, Miss Operations Manager, look at the way, I'm just going to talk out loud. I'm going to think out loud for a moment. That look at the example. Yes, incredibly classy, incredibly professional. But I've watched her have some personal interaction with Dr. Welch. I've heard her laugh. I've watched. But you don't have to look to watch. Hold on, you're just looking at me right now. You're not paying attention. No, listen to me. You don't have to look to watch. Just pay attention. You can read their nonverbals. And when we do, may we choose to pay attention in our life that goes toward that. Or, Dr. Welch, how many years now have you done this? Okay, 20. And look at those moments. Again, Albert Einstein said, lesser the knowledge, greater the ego. Greater the knowledge, lesser the ego. Well, let's have a moment. I want you to take this bag of M&Ms, or you can take your favorite color. If you just want to give one to each person or more people in this room, so be it. But here's what I want us to do in these few minutes, and we'll take the next couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. But what I want to challenge you to do, take my motto for living, which is make a difference now. Okay, let's take this bag of M&Ms, and I want you to go to somebody else in this room. You may know him or her, or you may not. But I want you to have a go. Step out of the comfortable place. Go beyond. Go beyond. And I want you to have a go. Take my motto and go to that person. And I want you to give that person this M&M and then tell him or her how they have made a difference in your life. And have a go. Have a go. Look them in the eye. It may be uncomfortable. Don't look at their toes or up their nose, but look them in the eye. And I want you to speak that M&M moment of encouragement, of vitamin B12. Give strength to your heart. All right? So for the next few moments, let's move around the room and speak those words of encouragement to someone else that you give those M&Ms to. No giving that M&M.
You get a red M&M.
There you go. Thank you so much. You have great hair. Sweet. 10 seconds. Thank you. Thank you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, what a nice bird. That came from peanut M&Ms. Taught me how to do that. So, as we come to our time together to conclude, I pass along to you also, as we started off with Einstein, I come to a lady you read about often, Helen Keller. through her own discovery of what she went through, lived in, and learned about character. That character is not developed in quiet and ease. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success revealed, character beyond all moments. So I wrap up today with a wonderful poem that one of the Michigan listeners gave me before I left. It's by Linda Ellis. You may be familiar with it. How do you live your dash? Know that one? Familiar? How do you live your dash? Great. Let's have a Calgon moment together, shall we? And let's just soak in this a little while. How do you live your dash? I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came her date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what matters most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth, and now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not what we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love, and how we spend our dash. So, think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real and always try to understand the way other people feel and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So, when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? Words to live by from this moment on. So as we finish up our time together, I encourage you, I invite you to come by the booth, to spend time. I'd love to meet you. That I have put together my book, Coping with Traumatic Brain Injury, One Woman's Journey from Death to Life. And I only have about, I think, 7 copies left. I've got to republish. It's in process. And the audio as well, Hope for the Journey, a 52-week spiritual journal that can help people go through the spiritual part of the psychological, like you mentioned, Dr. Welch, when I talked about the rhythm of the moya. I said that right. And all of the other things involved. And some books also from Dr. Adams that she's put together about counseling, because she's on the front line of helping people counsel, the psychotherapy that's involved in brain injury. And T-shirts and so much more. But I encourage you from this moment on, as I started the 3 words I said, please remember these, take these with you if our paths never cross again. Persevere, persevere, persevere through adversity. There is purpose on the other side. And there can be purpose in change. So may we not give up, and from this moment on, make a difference now when you know that moment is at hand. Thanks so much.